Greetings to the Crown Lands people. This is Josh in Ingleside, in just giving you a bit of a tour of my little operation here. So I'll run you through the process and sort of what I'm doing, and it'd be good to know from your end. So basically, this is all the logs I'm getting. So it's kind of logs of all different shapes and sizes. And they're all local removals. So it's all just coming from backyard trees, street trees, even these storms we just had, I'm getting some in from there. So, anything from that sort of thing. So it's sort of completely, repurposed, I suppose you'd call it. So they come in here, and I'll just take you through a bit of a run through of the process, and it's a bit of helpful. It's helpful to get a visual on how things happen. So so through here, that's my main sawmill. It's you sort of stand behind it here, and it cuts a log. You put the log in place there, so there's my log pile there, and then I'll come bring it over here. This mill will cut in my dimensional timber, so sort of behind here, this is kind of some of the timber I'm cutting, for different orders and that sort of thing. And then I'm also doing a lot of the trees aren't really any good for structural timber because they're all, splitty and got limbs coming out. So a lot of it actually gets slabbed here. So you can see this log here is currently getting slabbed, and that's basically, it's my first sawmill I got, and it's basically just a chainsaw bar there that sort of does that. So I kind of try and pick the best use for every log and cut it into whatever's appropriate. Coming to dress timber, I've got a couple machines here. They're covered. Basically, the thickness of this here, if I can get a visual, is it's a 4-side thickness, so it'll do 4 sides in one hit. It's all powered by a generator there. So, and then I've got another single side thickness of there. It does dressing, to sort of get the timber smooth for different applications. Over here I've got all the timber stacked up. So this is all seasoning, so that's kind of a minimum 1-year process to allow that to season, but it's all just stacked up neatly and evenly. I'm sort of running out of space here, that's just to dry it out. I've also, if I come down here, there's some more timber stacked up, racks there, and that's the log pile. Even just an example here, like this timber here is kind of not really good for anything structural, but what I do with this is Angophora, which no one really wants to touch because it's not sort of good for anything except these 400 by 400s. These will sort of go in people's backyards as around a campfire or sort of landscaping seating. I've also got a solar kiln here to help dry the timber, season it quicker. And basically it's going to be a bit hot in there, so I probably won't step in, but basically it's sort of like a greenhouse is the idea. It's got a clear roof there, faces north, and a couple of fans there that run off a generator, and everything just gets dried in there. Stuff that I want to dry a bit quicker. So I suppose the aim is to process and use as much of the resource as possible. I mean, I've always been the sort of person to try and use things as best I can, try not to waste things, and that's kind of the aim of the business. All the sawdust here, that kind of goes to local horse people and Occasionally just some sort of gardener people like to grow mushrooms and stuff with it and use it for horse stables. So that sort of gets used, and yeah, sort of try and find the use for every process of it. But I mean, in my eyes, it's a very valuable resource here, all these logs, and these just wouldn't get used. Like, they just get chipped into mulch, and you know, there's an oversupply of mulch and an undersupply of timber, so that's kind of where I see the value in it. That's a new excavator I got just to help me with log handling, which has been good. But yeah, even if no matter what happens, it's good to touch base and sort of give you guys a bit of a visual as to what I'm doing. And as you can sort of see, space is one of my challenges. I've got other challenges as well, but which is kind of why I'd love to get onto some crown land and have something a bit long term, because I suppose the reason why this works is because it is in Sydney, and it's hard to get space, but it's out in the country. No one will drop you logs because everyone's got property, so they'd rather leave it on their own property, whereas the stuff's hard to get rid of, so it just ends up getting chipped, and it's kind of, I suppose it's inefficient. That's what I sort of see it as. So yeah, taking on an apprentice next year, which would be good. But yeah, that's a bit of a visual tour. Thanks for watching, and yeah, we'll be in touch. And also here is the firewood. Basically, all the firewood is basically little bits that I can't use there, little short stumpy bits like this. Get on the log splitter there and they get split up. But majority of firewood is basically these sawmill offcuts. These are just offcuts from cutting structural stuff, little bits and pieces, and they just get cut up like that and made into firewood. And it's actually really good firewood because you get medium-sized bits, small bits, and that basically all flies off the shelf in winter, so to speak, especially with this year the firewood shortage. So this is just building up over the summer, and yeah, so basically everything gets a use, and that's the idea. It's a real clean sort of cycle of using this local resource as best I possibly can.